Today we're going to share 3 stories, really deeply unsettling ones. Each is a stark reminder, isn't it, of how quickly a life can just vanish.
Leaving behind this agonizing void.
Exactly. These aren't just cold cases. They're haunting narratives, really, of individuals who disappeared, leaving behind so many questions and, well, very few answers. We're drawing from a collection of accounts detailing these mysteries. It allows us to look at the known facts, the theories, and also the hope, the enduring hope for resolution.
And what's striking, is how different these cases are. Different times, different places.
Right.
Yet they all share that same chilling core. A sudden, completely unexplained absence. We'll get into the specifics, the details that make each one so perplexing, and what the investigations managed to uncover, or didn't uncover in many ways.
Let's start with one that, well, it really sends shivers down your spine. Kathy Marie Moulton.
Okay.
This was September 24th, 1971. Kathy was 16, living in Portland, Maine. She was actually getting ready for a dance that night.
Just a normal teenage evening, it sounds like.
Yeah, seems that way. She asked her dad to drop her off on Cumberland Avenue. She needed to buy some pantyhose, some toothpaste first.
Right.
Later, she stopped by to see her friend who worked at a music store on Forest Avenue. She told her friend she'd just walk home from there. It was about 1.5 miles, maybe.
Okay, not too far.
No. And she was last seen walking down Forest Avenue. She had this distinctive brown leather Mexican clutch purse. Inside, her house key, the 2 tubes of toothpaste she'd bought, and just a little bit of cash. She didn't come home for dinner. Her parents, they knew immediately something was wrong. Terribly wrong. They reported her missing right away.
So the immediate question for investigators must have been, did she leave on her own or was she taken?
Exactly.
When that gets really complicated when you look at the early sightings, doesn't it?
It does. Tell us about that.
Well, Kathy was apparently seen pretty early on in a stolen blue Cadillac with a man named Lester Everett. Now, it's possible, I suppose, she went with him willingly at first. Maybe. But then later reports, they paint a much more disturbing picture.
How so?
Weeks after she vanished, there were multiple accounts placing Kathy, Lester, and another young man, Ronald Reed Purley, way up in a remote part of Aroostook County.
Okay, so not just Lester anymore.
No. And interestingly, when Lester was eventually found, he was alone. And he just kept saying he had no idea where Kathy was, nothing about it.
Right, and that's where things get, well, they get even darker somehow. There was this garage employee up in Fort Fairfield, Aroostook County. He clearly remembered seeing the 3 of them, Kathy, Lester, and Ronald. They came in to buy new tires for that stolen Cadillac.
And he noticed something specific.
He did. He mentioned Ronald's behavior, said it was unusually controlling, like he was dictating Kathy's every move. He even walked her to the bathroom and back, apparently with his hand on the back of her neck the whole time.
Wow. That's chilling.
It really is.
Yeah.
After that sighting, she was seen for a few days over the border on the Cadillac Reserve in Canada, and then later back in Maine at McBride's farm in Mars Hill, working in a potato field.
Working.
Yes. And a teenage girl she apparently befriended there, she later gave this really distressing account. Said Kathy was terrified, she didn't trust Lester at all, was constantly begging him to take her home to Portland.
Which he wouldn't do.
Never. Refused every time. The friend said Kathy was nervous, her parents would be angry, knew they'd be looking for her. She cried a lot and was genuinely scared of the other men working on the farm.
So this narrative, it clearly shows things escalating for Kathy, her situation getting worse, and Lester just completely disregarding her safety, her well-being.
Seems like it.
And according to these accounts, Lester eventually got tired of her pleas, her crying about wanting to go home.
Yeah.
So on the evening of September 29th, 1971, while the other workers were at a bonfire, Lester took Kathy in the stolen car, told her they were just going for a ride. She begged him, apparently, again and again, "Take me home, drive me back." He just refused. Lester came back the next morning, alone.
And what did he say?
He lied, said he dropped her off at some other camp. But the truth, it seems, was much worse. He'd actually taken her back across the border to the Cadillac Reserve and left her there with Ronald Purley.
Left her with Ronald.
Yes. Then, when the potato harvest ended, Lester just took off for Florida to pick oranges. Never came back to Maine. He stuck to his story, claimed ignorance about Kathy's fate right up until he died of cancer in the mid-'80s. He was only 35.
So, with Lester gone, dead, the focus naturally shifts heavily onto Ronald Reed Purley.
Absolutely.
And he had a record, didn't he?
He did. Prior convictions for rape and home invasion. He's long been considered, a prime suspect.
Well, he hasn't talked.
No. Consistently refused to cooperate with police, even when they apparently offered him immunity from prosecution if he'd just tell them what happened to Kathy.
Wow. Immunity and still nothing.
That lack of cooperation, especially from someone so central, it's just a massive roadblock in a case like this. Investigators did look into the possibility Lester killed her, maybe left her body somewhere in those vast woods up in Aroostook County.
But they don't think that's likely.
Generally considered unlikely, based on other information. And here's a really critical and frankly disturbing detail. Some of Ronald's own relatives later confirmed that, yes, Lester had dropped Kathy off at their home on the reserve.
He admitted it.
They admitted that much, but then they claimed that one of their relatives, one of the family members, had harmed her.
Oh my God.
But then, just like Ronald, they clammed up, refused to cooperate further with the police.
So the family closed ranks.
Completely. Investigators strongly believe Kathy died on the Tebeke Reserve, probably sometime before Thanksgiving of 1971. But without cooperation, without any physical evidence, they never had enough to press charges against anyone. Couldn't even get warrants to search the family home.
It's incredibly frustrating.
And then there was that incident in 1983. A hunter found a skeleton deep in the woods near Smyrna, Maine, surrounded by female clothing.
Could it have been her?
Some investigators tragically thought so, believed it had to be Kathy, but in just a heartbreaking turn, the hunter couldn't retrace his steps later. He couldn't find the location again.
So the remains were lost.
Never seen again. It just shows how silence, family silence, can be this impenetrable wall, sometimes stronger than any lack of physical evidence.
Unbelievable. Kathy was just a junior at Deering High School. Everyone described her as happy, no reason at all to run away.
Oh.
Her dad passed in 2017, but her mom is still alive. Still hoping for answers after all this time.
Over 50 years. The not knowing must be unbearable.
It truly must.
Okay.
Let's shift gears now. We're going back even further for our next case. Summer of 1948, Denton, Texas. The disappearance of 21-year-old Mary Virginia Carpenter.
1948. Wow.
Yeah. Mary was from Texarkana. She took the train to Denton, about a 6-hour trip back then. She was going to Texas Women's University to finish a summer term, planning to start training as a lab technician that fall.
So she had plans, a future mapped out.
Absolutely. The last time anyone confirmed seeing her was Tuesday, June 1st, 1948, around 9:30 at night, and the person who saw her was a taxi driver named Edgar Ray Zachary.
Okay, the cab driver. What did he report? Well, the details seem so mundane at first, don't they? But they hide this deep mystery. Zachary said he dropped her off at Brackenridge Hall on the university campus.
Right.
Mary paid him $1, gave him the ticket for her trunk, and asked him to pick it up from the train station the next day. Standard stuff.
What then?
But then, as she got out of the taxi, she walked over to 2 young men standing near a yellow convertible. Zachary thought it looked like a Pontiac. One guy was tall, the other chunky.
Did she seem to know them?
Zachary said she spoke to them like she did, yeah. Like they were friends waiting for her, so he just assumed they were, and he drove off.
And Mary?
Mary never checked into her dorm, never picked up her trunk. She was never seen or heard from again after that moment by the yellow car. It's just fascinating how an ordinary scene can be the last known moment.
It really is. So naturally, people start speculating. Could she have run away?
That often comes up first, doesn't it?
It does. Some of her old boyfriends apparently suggested she got infatuated easily, maybe ran off with a new lover. But her family, they absolutely did not believe that. Not for a second. They said Mary was incredibly close to them, leaving without a word, completely out of character for her. And interestingly, she'd actually broken off an engagement just weeks before the wedding.
Which could point either way, couldn't it? Running away from commitment or settling into her plan for college.
Exactly. It adds complexity.
So this really brings up a key question about how the police handled it early on. Where did the investigation go first?
Well, initially, they focused on her current boyfriend, Kenny Branham.
Makes sense.
But Kenny passed polygraph tests. He was adamant Mary had no reason to run away. No secret lover, no jealous exes hounding her, no desire to just ditch her life.
And importantly,
Kenny was actually the first person to report Mary missing to her mother, which makes his involvement seem pretty unlikely, right?
highly unlikely. So if she wasn't running away and she was looking forward to college.
The investigators concluded she must have been taken, abducted somehow.
It's worth remembering, though, about polygraphs. While they can guide investigators, they aren't foolproof. not admissible in court, and their reliability, especially looking back decades, can be debated.
Good point. All of which makes that cab driver, Edgar Ray Zachary, seem more and more significant.
Tell me about him. What did the police find out?
Well, it turns out he had a record. Petty crimes mostly, and a reputation apparently for being abusive. He was even charged with attempted rape back in 1957.
Attempted rape? What happened with that?
The charge got dropped. The victim declined to prosecute. But here's the real kicker, the major discrepancy. Zachary's wife initially gave him an alibi, said he was home from 10 p.m. onwards the night Mary disappeared.
Okay, an alibi.
But 10 years later, she admitted to the police she had lied. He hadn't come home until 2 or 3 in the morning that night.
Wow. 10 years later, she changes her story. That's huge.
It is huge. Edgar Zachary died in 1984. He was never charged in Mary's disappearance, but he definitely remains a strong suspect, even though he apparently passed 2 polygraphs related to her case.
It's a tangled web. And placing this in the wider context of Texarkana at that time, you just can't ignore it.
What do you mean?
Well, Texarkana, Mary's hometown, was living under this dark shadow. In the winter and spring of 1946, just 2 years before Mary vanished,
Yes.
5 people were murdered, brutally. In lovers' lanes around the town, all young victims, around Mary's age.
Phantom Killer.
Exactly, the Texarkana Phantom Killer, never caught. And the really unsettling part, Mary actually knew 3 of the victims quite well.
Chilling. So was there a link?
People suspected it, of course. How could you not? But police, despite investigating that angle, found no actual evidence linking Mary's disappearance to the Phantom killings. It shows how, local trauma from unsolved crimes can cast these long shadows, complicating things even without a direct link.
Right. And even decades later, tips still surface.
They did. In 1998, believe it or not, police got a tip. Said 2 men, both dead by then, had raped and killed Mary right after she disappeared.
And buried her.
Yes, supposedly buried her body in a dam near a stock tank close to the Texarkana Women's University campus. Police checked it out, investigated based on the tipster's info, found nothing, no evidence to back it up. Over the years, there were numerous leads, potential sightings reported, but none of them ever led anywhere concrete.
Just dead ends.
Again and again.
Mary's parents are gone now. She was their only child. But she has 3 cousins who are still alive, still hoping they might find some closure someday.
Another family left waiting.
Yeah. Okay, for our final story tonight, we head to Spokane, Washington, spring of 1951. A 21-year-old Army veteran named Alvin Matlock disappears. And the theories surrounding this one, none of them are pleasant.
Alvin Matlock, 1951.
Okay. At the time, Alvin was living in a cabin up on Browns Mountain in Spokane County. We know about this case partly because his younger brother, Clyde, is still looking for answers. Clyde was only 12 when Alvin vanished. He's 83 now.
83. Still hoping to find out what happened.
Exactly. He and his wife, Patricia, they even went to this missing person event the Spokane County Medical Examiner held back in 2016. People could file reports, give DNA, share photos.
All right, anything they could.
Yeah. It's quite moving, really.
So how did the family first realize Alvin was missing? It sounds like it took a while.
It did. Alvin had actually talked to family members in March 1951, told them where his cabin was located. But the first real inkling something was wrong. That didn't come until Thanksgiving 1951.
He didn't show up for dinner.
Right. He didn't show. His mother got worried, drove up to the cabin on Browns Mountain, found it empty, and both of his vehicles were gone too.
Which could mean anything initially.
Precisely. And that's where the first explanation came from. It seems simple, almost.
Yeah.
Well, almost comforting in a strange way.
What was the story?
A neighbor told the family Alvin had just quietly packed his things and moved to Alaska.
Alaska.
Yeah. And Clyde, his brother, and other family members. They believed it at first. Or maybe they wanted to believe it.
You cling to hope, right?
You do. But then the years started rolling by. 1 year, 5 years, 10. Absolutely no word from Alvin. No letters, no calls, nothing. And slowly, painfully, they realized he wasn't in Alaska. Something else had happened.
That absence of contact, it must have become deafening, and it definitely raises questions about that neighbor's story, doesn't it?
It does, because another much more disturbing story started doing the rounds.
Uh-oh, yeah. The rumor was that Alvin had been having an affair with a married woman, and apparently the husband found out. There was supposedly a big fight, a violent confrontation.
And the theory?
The dark theory was that the woman actually shot Alvin during the scuffle, and then she and her husband just left him there, left him to die.
My goodness.
There were even rumors, alleged neighbors who claimed they heard someone crying for help around that time.
Did the police look into this?
They did investigate these claims, yes, but without a body, well, they couldn't make any arrests. It's that fundamental problem again. No body, no crime, often.
Still, that Alaska theory, it didn't entirely die out for some family members, did it?
Yeah.
There was a reason it seemed plausible based on who Alvin was.
Right. It's true. There are absolutely no official records of Alvin Matlock ever living in Alaska. Zero paper trail. But his family pointed out Alvin was a bit of a loner, a big outdoorsman, living that independent life in his cabin. So the idea of him just picking up and heading to the wilds of Alaska, it wasn't completely far-fetched, as they put it. It fit his personality.
I see. But still,
that complete silence for decades and no records at all. It just doesn't add up, as the family said. And yeah, some suspicion definitely fell on that neighbor who first told the Alaska story too.
Understandable.
Looking at the bigger picture here, it really underscores the lengths families go to, the desperate search for answers when someone just vanishes like that.
You mentioned Klein's wife, Patricia.
Yes, Patricia Matlock. She apparently did her own detective work over the years, trying relentlessly to find new leads, track down anyone who might know something, any potential witnesses.
Any luck?
No, it was all to no avail. Which brings us back to that missing person event in 2016. All Clyde could really do after all those years was hand over photos of Alvin, provide his own DNA. Just hoping that someday, somewhere, his brother's remains might be found, might be identified, just to know. It's truly humbling thinking about that decades-long persistence.
It really is. These three stories we've talked about, Kathy, Mary, and Alvin, they share that same chilling core, don't they? The sudden disappearance, leaving behind not just grief, which is immense, but this endless, aching uncertainty.
No body, no concrete answers, just a void.
Yeah.
And what's really striking is how these cases highlight the huge challenges in investigating disappearances when the crucial evidence is just gone. Or maybe was never there to begin with.
Time doesn't help either.
No, the passage of time usually just compounds the difficulties. Memories fade, witnesses move or pass away, evidence degrades. But the hope for closure for the families, that never really seems to fade, does it? Even across generations.
It really doesn't. Which leads to a question for you, our listener, as you think about these cases. In the face of mysteries that endure for so long, what do you think is the most crucial thing needed to finally bring resolution?
Is it maybe new technology, like advances in DNA, finally unlocking old secrets?
Or perhaps it's a human element. A long-held secret finally revealed, someone breaking decades of silence.
Or maybe, sometimes, it's just down to sheer unexpected luck. A chance discovery.
Something to ponder. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into these really profoundly unsettling mysteries. We hope hearing these stories makes you think about that silent anguish left behind when a life just disappears. And if you found these cases as unsettling and frankly as intriguing as we did, please do take a moment to like this video, maybe share it with others who appreciate these kinds of deep dives into mysteries.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs, for more chilling tales and explorations of unsolved cases. We'll be back soon with another journey into the unknown. Until then, stay curious and keep questioning.